Yo, 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 yo. What up, what up, what up, what up? It's your boy True King back again, man. Shout out to everybody, man. See to the supporters and everything. Hit that like button, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. We got a debate today, man. This is the first ever. It's the True Debates, you know what I mean? A little different, you know what I mean? We don't got no judges right now. Not saying we may not have judges in the future, but for this first iteration, um, no judges, you know what I mean? No judges. I'm gonna do two debates today. Um, Going off of Tim Duncan. Is Tim Duncan a top 10 player? We're going against Herm. Um, Herm Scott, Herm thinks Tim Duncan not top 10. I think that's crazy, and I'm here to debate against that. So, hope y'all enjoy this debate. Herm, let's let me know when you're ready or not. Just tell me when
All
tell me
right,
we're ready to go.
all right, let's get it
I'll put
now.
myself back.
Let's get it. Man, Tim Duncan is not a top 10 player of all time due to the fact that Tim Duncan never had a statistical he had statistical and analytical limitations. He never led the league in scoring, never led the league in rebounding, never led the league in blocks, never led the league in PER, never led the league in value over replacement as well. And his offensive block box plus minus for a career is 1.3, way below the likes of Larry Bird at a 5, LeBron James at a 6.6, and the Michael Jordan at a 6.3. You could say he's elite defensively, but Tim Duncan doesn't move the needle offensively as a generational anchor. That's why he's not a top 10 player. Tim Duncan, by the way, his last years after 2007, for the rest of his career, Tim Duncan never averaged 20 points per game. Again, Tim Duncan averaged 15.6 from 2007 to 2008 season until he retired. That was his average. So he never moved the needle offensively. Then on top of that, at his position, you could argue that he only was the best power forward for 3 years in his career. You could talk about the 2000 year when Kevin Garnett was clear cut, had a better year. He was second in MVP voting while Tim Duncan finished fifth. We already know for 97 and 99 that Karl Malone was still better than him. Then we go to 2004. We know Kevin Garnett was MVP. We could go to 2006, Dirk Nowitzki. 2007, Dirk again. 2008, we know KG was because he won Defensive Player of the Year, and we know that's around the time Tim Duncan was slipping defensively as well. He wasn't the same guy defensively because he wasn't mobile anymore. He couldn't move laterally anymore. So they had to change their whole scheme just to make sure Tim Duncan survived for the rest of his career. So basically, you guys, Tim Duncan was arguably the best power forward in his position for 2001 and 2003. For the most part, most all-time greats that's considered top 10, they always be amongst the best at their position for many, many years. And Tim Duncan never achieved it because he never clear cut ran away with being the best power forward in the game. Time.
All right, all right. All right, all right. You had some time. My fault. I should have. You got some time left. But I mean, hey,
It's all
you
good
got some
though.
time left. You got time left. But yeah, man. Let's get it. Hold up. I gotta get my clock started. Hold up. Hang on. Yeah, man. Listen, man. Hey, Tim Duncan is definitely a top 10 player of all time. What are we talking about? He's the greatest power forward of all time. He's the greatest in his position. So that's automatically for the most. I mean, should give you automatic top 10 ranking. Greatest power forward of all time. And let's talk about you talk about plus minus things of that nature. A lot of things Tim Duncan didn't show up on the stat sheet per se. One of the greatest defenders of all time. We cannot overlook that. Yes, you talk about things of that nature, but how many two-way players in NBA history is over Tim Duncan? Not a lot. It's not a lot of guys, a lot of players in NBA history that was able to be elite as a power forward and also at top center during his career. Tim Duncan was an all-star, all NBA caliber player for every year in his career besides his last year, of course, when he was when his last year was only averaged 8 points. He was always an all defensive level, all-star or NBA level for almost 20 years. A lot of people in NBA history can't say that. So he's top 10 all time. Saying like, yeah, I know you were trying to be funny with the numbers and were you benching Larry Bird, things of that nature, which come on now. We all know when it comes through those type of stats, you don't really value like that, Herm. Come on now. I know you. We know you, Herm. You don't care about that stuff because if that's the case, you have different opinions with a lot of different players. But Tim Duncan, one reason why he's a top 10 player, he has accolades like the other top 10 players. It's not a lot of players in NBA history that has MVP. It's not a lot of players in NBA history that won back-to-back MVPs. He won these awards with guys. That's my time. I know I get out. That's my time.
All right, but I know you had some technical difficulties. That's why I was wondering what the hell was going on, man. But let's go ahead and get to it, man. Speaking of that, Tim Duncan was never an elite two-way player. Only for a couple of years, like I said, from 2002, for 2001 to 2003, he was elite on both ends of the court. But he slipped after that, especially offensively. He declined very bad. But defensively, you could argue that his decline dipped dramatically after 2007. I want you guys to understand that after the 2007 year, instead of his defensive box plus minus was at a 5, it dipped down to a 1.5 because Tim Duncan wasn't good at pick and roll. He was getting exposed in that. He was getting targeted in that situation. Look at the 2013 Finals, Miami and the Spurs. They was targeting Tim Duncan with the pick and roll of LeBron or Wade plus a Chris Bosh because he had limited lateral quickness. So Greg Popovich honestly had to change up all his game plans just to put Tim Duncan in a better situation defensively. When you look at what Greg Popovich did to
I
extend
pause
Tim
your
Duncan,
time, Herm. Hold on,
huh?
Herm. I pause you. I pause. Hey, you cut out for like 10 seconds. I pause your time.
Damn,
You cut out
damn,
like
damn. I don't know what the hell happened. We have audio issues like a mug, but when and I forgot where I left out. But when we look at Tim Duncan defensively, we understand for '99 and 2007 what he did defensively before the decline. But from 2008 on, Tim Duncan they had to shift. They had to shift to a better defensive scheme for us, funneling drives to Tim Duncan, packing the paint, surrounding him with elite defenders, so Tim Duncan could just basically be a rim protector and basically, just basically play safety. That's what he was great at. That's why his career was extended because offensively he wasn't giving you the same numbers. And you can look at 2005 one of the worst finals performances that we could look at when it comes to the all-time great players, especially when we consider in top 10. Look at what he did against Detroit. Won finals MVP, shooting 41% for the field, was struggling. Even in game seven, yes, he made some big plays, but he went 10 for 27 in the game seven. If it wasn't for Manu making clutch plays, making clutch shots, being big late in games for most of the series, except for game three, the Spurs would not have won that championship. Honestly, Manu Ginobili should have got finals MVP when you look at that aspect. And when you look at Tim Duncan, he never won back to back as the best. He never won back to back championships. He didn't win Finals MVP every year when the Spurs won championships because his peak didn't last long and his greatness couldn't last that long. He couldn't sustain that level of greatness. So when you look at it, yes, we understand what he brings to the table, but Tim Duncan was not elite on both ends of the court for majority of his career. And we got facts on that. We could point it out on that. Over half of his career, he was a bona fide 15 point per game scorer. That's what he was for over half of his career. So how can you be a two-way guy and you can't even be a real threat offensively? You basically a third or fourth option for the rest of your career. That's what he was, a third or fourth option for the rest of his career after 2007. So that's what Tim Duncan was. That's why I can't put him top 10. I can't put him over a Wilt, a Bill Russell, a Akeem Olajuwon, a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Those four big men by itself, and Shaquille O'Neal. That's five big men that's better than Tim Duncan all time. So with those,
That was time. That was
damn
time. That
well.
was time. That was time. That was time. That was time. Okay, let's get it, man. Second round. Hey, fact that you know, his peak offensively and things of that nature, man. That's all fine and dandy. That's all fine and dandy. You keep harping on that fact, but Bill Russell is a top 10 player, and last time I checked, Tim Duncan is a better offensive player than him, and Bill Russell top 10. Last time I checked, Tim Duncan is a better scorer than Magic Johnson, and he's a top 10 conversations. Last time I checked, so you keep talking about things of that nature with Tim Duncan, with his what he could or could not do is irrelevant to the argument. We're talking about if Tim Duncan is a top 10 player of all time, and based off that. If that's the case, then Bill Russell's not a top 10 player of all time. If you're going to use that, because he's a better offensive player than Bill Russell. He's a better scorer than Magic Johnson. And if I'm not mistaken, you had those two guys in your top 10. They're in general consensus, those two guys in people's top 10. So that's a terrible argument. Keep harping on that point. And you just talk about Tim Duncan's time, and you keep harping on he wasn't elite for that long time and crazy may be. You bring up the fact in '05, right? Okay, '05, he 41% from the field. But you won't talk about in a later age where again in 2013 where 13 beg my pardon, y'all. Excuse me. 2013, he was the leading scorer. He was the leading scorer of the team, averaging almost 20 points a game. And let's speaking of the points per game thing in the offensive part, Tim Duncan averaged 19 points in his career. That's pretty great. Averaging 19 in your career is pretty great, especially the longevity of the time he played. In fact, that he was still giving you basically 19 career average and still be elite defensively. That's for a big man. That's all you can ask for. That's all you can ask for. So, like, with that being said, like, okay, so stop the nonsense, man. Tim Duncan affected the games in many different ways. There's reasons why that he's top 10. You know what I mean? Yeah, okay. It was during this time when Tim Duncan scoring decreased, but guess what? He was still impactful defensively. And then let's not act like the example I showed earlier about 2013 that he will step up offensively when needs to be. Come on, man. When it comes to like you brought it up, the fact that yes, he was a great help defender, one of the best help defenders of all time, and Tim Duncan. The guy that was going between power forward and center seamlessly during his whole career. A lot of big men can't say that or do that. So that sounds cool, but like man, like I said before, let's go off the accolades of why Tim Duncan is is a top 10 player of all time. Let's go off the accolades because people forget 5-time NBA champion, 3-time NBA Finals MVP, 2-time most valuable player, 15-time All Star, 10-time NBA first team, 8-time All Defensive first team. But you trying to tell me that he's not a top 10 player? How many players in NBA history had that resume? How many players led for a franchise of Spurs for over 10? How many players in NBA history have led teams over 10 years? But he's not a top 10 player? Tom.
All right, let's get it. How can you lead a team for 10 years when you wasn't even the best player on the roster after 2007, which you had in that finals, or horrific finals, getting clamped up by Big Z and shooting in the lower 40s again? Tim Duncan on many occasions in the playoffs, whether it's in the Western Conference Finals, whether it's just in the first round, or whether it's the NBA Finals, he always have low efficiency performances for some reason. Let's go to 2004 in the second round against the Lakers when he was part of them blowing a 2-0 lead. And when he basically in the clutch went 0 for 5 in overtime, in which that .4 second shot happened in that particular game. Let's go to 2006 in the game 7. Yes, Duncan scored 41, but in the clutch, when it mattered the most, Tim Duncan's defense faltered in the clutch when Dirk Nowitzki torched for 37 and hit a game saving and won within that situation of 2006. Let's not forget in 2009 against the Mavericks. Duncan struggled from the field again, 44% from the field. But they lost in 5, and Dirk Nowitzki, a guy that he was primarily on, a guy that he was matched up with, shot 53% for the field in that series, outplayed him. Now, let mind you, Tim Duncan in 2010 in the second round against the Suns struggled against Amari Stoudemire when Amari Stoudemire was basically facing him up and just blowing past him and will whenever he wanted to. And let's not get, you spoke of 2013 finals, that game 7, with Tim Duncan in the final minute of the game missed 2 crucial point blank shots over Shane Battier that could have iced him the title, probably would have left him undefeated in the NBA Finals as well. Now let's not get it twisted. Let's not get it twisted on Tru the King. It's other bad defensive moments I could point to as well. The 2006 against the Mavs when he could have contained Dirk in space. When he got burned at pick and roll and making Greg Popovich have to trap aggressively. They started trapping because it got so bad to the point where they was picking on Tim Duncan, isolating him a lot. So Tim Duncan, yes, you go off the overall career, he was solid. But when it comes to great, it's levels to this, bro. He wasn't on the level of King, Bill Russell, Shaquille O'Neal, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wilt Chamberlain, and then I include other guys like a LeBron, like a Michael, like a Kobe, for crying out loud. The thing that you praising about Tim Duncan, why in the hell you don't have Kobe Bryant in your top 10? But you don't. But you sit right here, got Tim Duncan in it. And then when you look at guys like Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, they did so much more for their teams, and they was the best player for a longer period of time than Tim Duncan ever was the best player for the San Antonio Spurs. So let's not get it twisted. And plus, those guys was the best players at their position way longer than Tim Duncan as well. Like I said, Tim Duncan only got 3 years of being the best power forward. And hell, he played more career games as a center than a power forward. So Tim Duncan honestly is center. And hell, do you rank him all time? Tim Duncan not even the top 5 center all time. Yes, he get it. He by default with the power forwards, but he played more games as a center, so he's not even a top 5 center. But when you look at Duncan,
Tom, 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 Tom. All right, all right, all right, all right. Last round, last round, last round. Let's get it. Let's get it. Man, like I said, man, listen, we all know Tim Duncan is not perfect. We understand he has that in his career. But like I said before, going back to the argument and the conversation, Tim Duncan being top 10. Once again, Tim, he had heard will refuse to address that Tim Duncan has accolades of guys in the top 10. Like I said, yes, people say, "Oh, I have Kobe outside my top 10." Yes, I do, but I have Kobe. I never said Kobe Bryant wasn't a top 10 caliber player either. I never said that. Just because you only can put 10 people in your top 10. You only can put 10 people in your top 10, regardless of if a guy is good enough to be in top 10 or not. So that's just a bad argument itself. Once again, you talking about these playoffs and stuff like that. Tim Duncan played in the greatest defensive era in NBA history. So we're gonna stop him for that. Because like if we're gonna talk about efficiency and things of that nature, guys like Kobe Bryant and other great players went down too. So let's not do that. LeBron James' efficiency went down in playoffs too, but he's considered the GOAT. So that's just a bad argument itself. You're trying to harp on. Tim Duncan points went up in the playoffs. His points went up in the playoffs. His rebounds went up in the playoffs. So you're trying to paint a narrative that Tim Duncan underperformed in the playoffs. You're trying to allude to that. It is not true. He elevated in the playoffs. You know what I mean? He averaged 27 points a game, um, when it almost 30 a game when he need to. He upped his scoring in times when he need to. Plenty of times. Let's not act like what the performance he did against the New Jersey Nets, where they cheated him out for quadruple double, dominating and things of that nature. So you keep talking about moments and things of that nature, cool. But what's had to do with him not being top 10? When it comes to Tim Duncan, one of the greatest defensive players of all time. And the fact that he's also give you how many defensive players that was just as good as Tim Duncan. Elite defensively, the guy averaged you 19 a game in his career in the playoffs, giving you 20 per game. A lot of people are doing that, y'all. Not a lot of people. So, like I said, the conversation again goes to again is how is Tim Duncan? Reason why he's automatically hands down top 10. Let's not forget when he came into the NBA, he was already a top 5 player. And saying that he was only a best power forward for 3 years, come on, that's cap. That's cap. That's an absolute lie. He was only the best power forward for 3 years. Are we really jacking that? Are we really jacking that though? Like, are we saying that he was the best power forward, literally from like 2000 into like '05? So that's clearly more than 3 years. If you want to sit there and go off the argument of positions and things that nature, if you want to go off, okay, he plays center. So miss me all that saying that he ain't he was only the best power forward for 3 years. He's the greatest power forward of all time. Period. Point blank. Period. Case closed. Tom. All righty. That's the 3-round debate.
Yeah,
We see y'all how
that
y'all.
was
I don't know
cool.
how y'all like that one. It was a good squabble. We definitely, like I said before, hit that like button, y'all. Hit that share, subscribe, all that great stuff, man. Like we're gonna keep doing more of this. You know what I mean? Like I said, we probably listen. We try something new. You know what I mean? Maybe we may have judges in the future, but like I said, listen, it's y'all decide. You know what I mean? Y'all gonna decide at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So we gonna trigger that. Some debates may have judges, some debates not. You know, we're gonna try this out. You know what I mean? Squabbles. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know exactly what to call it. Squabbles. I don't know. We're gonna figure something out. But like I said, it was a good debate, Herm. Like I said before, good debate. You get it on. Listen, man. Hey, if you want to squabble, come. If you hear the squabble, man, hey, we here though, man. Hit me up. If y'all want to debate too, hit me up. We can set it up. It's simple as that. Simple here, like it's in the true dojo. You know what I mean? So, like I said, appreciate Herm. I'm waiting on
Man,
hoops.
salute to you, brother.
I got
Salute
another.
to you, man. I finna go eat on some Buffalo Wild Wings right quick, my brother.
All right, though, man. Appreciate you. Hoops, just let me know when you're ready, though. Hoops. We got the also, like I said, this is a doubleheader debate too. We talk about now. This is gonna be interesting. It's not even this. Not even this. This is my first non-sports debate. My first non-sport debate. Y'all heard me talk about professional wrestling, debate about that. But this is gonna be there's Hoops right there. this is gonna be the first debate outside of like sports. You know what I mean? You see me do some professional wrestling, but this is a um who's you how should let Hoops explain it. You know what I mean? Is AI good or not?
Well, can you hear me?
I hear you. I hear you. Hear me?
Oh, yeah. So the question is AI more of an asset or a liability to humanity? That's the question.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm defending against AI. You know what I mean? Team Chat GBT. I'm Team AI today. You know what I mean? No opposite. You know what I mean? So we're gonna see how it goes, man. And oh, see we get my this damn time clock. See what this um where my clock at. I'll go first. I'll go first. So I'm gonna put you in the backstage hoops.
All right, that's cool.
You know what I mean? Get my time. All right, hold on. Oh, there we go. All righty. Let me see. Oh, damn. All right, cool. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. All right, salute everybody, man. I'm gonna defend AI. Why AI is good for humanity, right? There's a positive. There's a lot of positive. There's a lot of misnotions about AI, and I can understand some concerns about AI, about how it can affect humanity per se. But I'm gonna show you why I feel though is more positive going forward for humanity, right? The positive impacts of AI. Let's talk about number one thing, right? Something that like I said, I had to do my research on and even put it in more perspective, right? Let's talk about the healthcare improvements, right? AI helps, if y'all didn't know, AI helps doctors detect diseases earlier, like cancer scans and predicting heart issues. You know what I mean? Those are the benefits of AI. You know what I mean? Which helps humanity. You know what I mean? Cancer and all that stuff is bad, so that's one. When it speeds up the medical research, drugs and all that, like speeds up things up. Which, like I said, health is important. Health is wealth. So when it comes to using AI technology, things of that nature, those are the prompt. Those are great for humanity. So I don't understand what hoops are talking about. You know what I mean? It ain't no old right. Oh, ain't no negative thing to me. When it comes to like the productivity of it, like the efficiency of AI, right? Because like I said, I think everybody uses AI at this point, right? Um, it makes things easier. So it's like it makes things easier. You know, we live busy lives and things of that nature. Who we use AI to make life and simple tasks easier for us. You know what I mean? Which can't hurt at all. Which also another plus when it comes to humanity. Like I said, like for example, I do content, like I do YouTube. You know, I'm gonna use myself as an example. Like I do YouTube. I use AI when it comes to making thumbnails, sometimes making thumbnails or just making a description of my videos. So like a lot of times you saw my like description of videos, I use chat GBT for it. You know what I mean? Hmm. So I don't think it's definitely I don't think it's bad at all. I think it's helpful and great. You know what I mean? Speeds up the process. You know what I mean? If I'm trying to put a video out or do a description. I type in what the topic I want to or is doing at the time, and then, shoot, I'm gonna use ChatGPT to do a description of this video that I'm be putting out. So it's definitely helpful for sure, especially for content creators all around, and you know what I mean, making clips. Because like I said, we know that thing takes time. It takes time, and you know, time is very important and people's lives and things I need. Like I said, I got a job too. I work. You know what I mean? I'm in the National Guard, so sometimes using AI is very helpful, especially for humanity. You know what I mean? AI using AI technology helped my channel grow. So yes, I think AI for my first round closing. Yes, AI is very helpful and um helpful for humanity. I'm gonna explain more in the next two rounds. Time. Let me know when you are ready. Hoops.
I'm. Can you hear me?
Y'all hear you? You good? Just let me know you ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. Can you stay here to let me know my timer though? Because I want to kind of be. I want to know when my. I need
I'm
like
gonna,
a.
I'm gonna, I'm gonna, I'm gonna update you. I'm gonna update you. I'm gonna put it
Yeah,
in the private chat. So if that, or I'll stop you. You know what I mean? You like I said, you going you. I'm keeping track of the time. So
yeah. I'm saying I kind of want to so I can pace myself so I can know
all right,
like
cool.
when.
I'm gonna put it in the private chat with the time when the time goes down. Like my minute. Okay, you got a minute left. 15. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. That's cool.
So I could do or yeah. So I can do that. So just let me know when
All
you
right.
ready.
I'm ready. Yeah.
All right, cool.
All right. So you go ahead and start. All right. So this is Legal Hoops. Salute to everybody. I'm going to be talking about how AI is more of a liability to humanity. True pointed out that AI is advancements in detecting disease, detecting health. The problem with that is that there are many reports, a lot of research that has been done, a lot of incidents that have showed discrimination in healthcare with AI. According to the Journal of Petroleum Technology, did you guys know that training one singular AI model, it nearly emits 5 times the lifetime carbon emissions of an average American car? The average American car is around 16.5 years. That's roughly 200, 300,000 miles. One model of a chatbot or any AI type model emits around 5 times the amount of one car. For perspective, that is insane. We all know that carbon emissions are linked to global warming. We know that's linked to climate change. We know all of these things put human health at risk. We know that carbon emissions leads to lower air quality. The other thing about this is that as well is that lower air quality we know is linked to health problems such as cancer, heart disease, stroke. So a lot of those things that you were talking about detecting, AI is actively contributing to it by literally existing. On top of that, coupled with the environment, the electricity demands of AI, the water that it takes, the amount of materials and resources that it takes to maintain AI. Every time a new model gets invented, it takes more and more. They get rid of the old models. They bring in newer models that are more complex, that require more power. For perspective, did you know that putting in one command in ChatGPT takes around 5 times more the electricity of like just a regular email? Like that is the type of risk and liability. So it's a liability to our health, it's a liability to our environment. That's all I have to say for now for that.
All right. Let's get the time clock. Um, yeah, like I said, man, everything's not gonna be perfect. Like I said, AI is not. That's. I mean, it's they're developing things, and things are. Things gonna take time. Like all new things, everything ain't gonna be perfect. You know what I mean? So I understand that everything ain't gonna be perfect, but things gonna take time to perfect and things of that nature. But like I said before, AI still helps a lot. You know what I mean? When it comes to, like I said, safety and risk reduction, self-driving cars. You know what I mean? Like I said before, self-driving cars. You know what I mean? I don't know how that's not dope. I don't know how that's not a great thing when it comes to AI. Um, Motor system reduce human error. Like I said, of course, like I said, because when it comes to human errors and things of that nature, you know what I mean. Sometimes, let's say you are behind the road, you sleepy, whatever case may be. Hey, car can drive itself. You know what I mean? Um, it gives you good. I mean, and like I said before, when it comes to disasters, when we're talking about environment, let's talk about environment too. This is crazy too. AI can predict, you know what I mean, natural disasters and equipment failures, and which help save lives and things of that nature. When it comes to environment things like that, you know what I mean? Yes, there are risks of AI, but it still brings a lot of help. You know what I mean? So I mean, listen, I mean, and speaking of AI too, and I hate to do this, you know what I mean, but this man got an AI as his profile picture. So we talking about his risk of AI though, about these cars and the power of this, but this man got an old profile pic of AI. You know what I mean? Shoot, this profile pic, I'm not 100% sure. This probably this, my logo right here. It probably got done with AI too. So hey, you know what I mean? Those are the benefits to me. But I feel though the good outweighs the bad at the end of the day. You know what I mean? More risk can be managed with laws and ethics and being with responsible use. Yes, when it comes to the dangers of it, but we're being responsible of okay, not do too much when it comes to using AI. It can be very effective and helpful. So I don't like I said, more positive impact, saving lives, boosting global productivity, improving things in everyday, everyday living. So I don't feel though as this it's a bad thing. Time.
All right, I'm here. Let me
Ready
know
to
when.
start talking? Let me see. Let me know when you're ready.
All right, give me 1 second. Get my thing pulled up here. Get my document. Okay. Uh, yeah, I'm ready whenever you're ready. All right. So, again, True didn't really give any real benefits to AI besides that. Okay, he reiterated the health risk. He reiterated that it helps health but he failed to acknowledge the environmental risks that I pointed out and the health risk that is actively contributing to the OECD. Already stated by 2030, the amount of electricity demanded for AI output would be tripled. The amount of water so you can only imagine the amount of water, amount of resources. So it's already a liability by existing. It's outpacing our energy efficiencies as we speak. The next thing I wanted to get into is mental health. So we understand mental health disorders are currently rising. There was a report that came out about 2 days ago that doctors are now warning us about something called AI psychosis. They're basically saying that it's a phenomenon that's leaving users entranced by chatbots that feels more like companions than tools. Now, this is problematic because these AI is also being used for social media. We understand that social media is one of the most active used platforms by everybody, including adolescents, adults. And AI is just it's just more of an asset. It's just more of a liability than an asset. There were many cases where there was a case with a 16-year-old and a 14-year-old boy who ended up committing suicide. It is linked to AI's ability and its tendency to validate feelings, which is a problem. We understand that adolescents, specifically, they're in a very vulnerable state where they're growing cognitively, mentally, socially, all of those things. We understand that they are among some of the highest users of social media, some of the highest users of AI, and it is basically preying on their ability to not regulate their emotions. Anyone can sign up for AI. If you have an email, you can access it. That is a problem. It's not being regulated. It is too accessible to vulnerable populations. So, one of the biggest problems, another problem of it, is that the 16-year-old boy, he said, and I quote, he wrote, "I want to leave the noose in my room so someone finds it and tries to stop me." ChatGPT urged him to keep this a secret from his family. It literally responded, "Please do not leave the noose out." That was a kid that I mentioned earlier. Like I said, he committed suicide, unfortunately, but AI urged him to keep it a secret from his family. It urged him to keep it, to confide in itself and So that is just problematic in itself. We cannot have AI being this type of liability to young adults, even in older adults. We see that they tend to be more isolated. They don't communicate as much. It's isolating us from human interactions. So it is a liability to our mental health, to our dependency, our autonomy as beings to make decisions. So that's it for that.
All right, all right, all right. Okay, okay. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. You know what I mean? It's gonna be very interesting. Yeah, man. Um, like I said before, man, like when it comes to the regulation things of that nature, right? We understand, look, like everything in this world that we could be used as dangerous. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just regulations. Us as people have to regulate these type of things, not AI itself. We can't just have, oh, AI, okay, AI, like we treat AI like it's a person or something. Because we can't just do that. We as a people regulate those things. We are responsible. Like you said, guns are, you know what I mean, they're a bad thing. Gun violence is a bad thing in our country, but we're gonna blame guns ourselves. Guns don't shoot themselves, it's the people that shoot. So it's like you can't just say this AI is bad. Listen, that's a terrible situation that happened. I saw that report too. But that being said, too, the parents has to be more involved. You know what I mean? Not saying they're not involved, right? But they need, especially nowadays. You mentioned social media and things like that. They need to be more involved than ever when it comes to social media and things of that nature. You know what I mean? Some people don't have kids don't have social media. You know what I mean? Or even allowed to be on certain apps and tools and things of that nature. Like other things too. Your people are not kids are not allowed with a lot of kids not allowed to have access to certain weapons because they're dangerous. There's things that are dangerous. Kids can't drive cars because we can be dangerous. But also, weapons can be also useful too. Like I said, self defense things of that nature. I mean, people have rights to have guns, things of that nature, not just the use to hurt people or drive cars. You know what I mean? But when it comes to AI, it does a lot of benefits at the end of the day. You're talking about people. You're the main thing about the people regulating it, which I don't think nobody's gonna argue. But that being said, if it's regulated correctly, it can be used helpful a lot at the end of the day. Like I said before too, when it comes to um services and things of that nature, you know what I mean? When it comes to like cyber security reasons, that's also I forgot about that too. Talking about that's another whole thing. When it comes to cyber security, you know what I mean? Um, drones drones finding people, you know what I mean? They can like safety crisis responses, hurricanes and things of that nature. Drones helping finding people, detect cyber attacks to feel faster than humans can. You know what I mean? Predict also this is crazy. I didn't know they could do this too. Food security. AI predicts crop yields and prevents famine by helping farmers improve harvests, which we all know we can't agriculture is very important. We can't act like it's not important now. Oops. So I mean, when it comes to like having an AI, I feel like AI is just really just a smart assistant. You know what I mean? You still, yes, it has to be regulated, but like it's like having like I said, we're talking about companionship and stuff like that. Everything can be dangerous, but if it's regulated right, it's gonna be good at the end of the day. Time.
All right, I'm ready. All right. So the argument that you use is basically you're trying to make everything absolute. Your argument basically oversimplifies AI. You use the analogy of a gun. Well, the problem is that a gun just sits there. Um, AI is trained, it is designed, and is deployed by humans. AI is used by corporations such as Google, such as Microsoft, such as Facebook. These are business models. So AI is designed by business models, is trained by humans. So therefore, there's a level of accountability that must be had there. The argument that you made is attempting to alleviate AI of its accountability that it must be had. AI is also trained on data sets. It's trained on information by humans, which contain biases, racism, sexism, class discrimination. It doesn't erase these; it amplifies those. So yeah, you mentioned efficiency and all of these things like that, but who is it? I mean, what is it accelerating actually? It's accelerating profit. We do know that. We do know that these corporations are accelerated, like they are automating jobs, so they're getting rid of jobs. They're gaining millions and billions of dollars of profit. There is no regulation. The legal aspect of it, the images, the videos, and the scripts and the creative side that you mentioned, a lot of that is being pulled from other copyrighted material. So it's infringing on copyrights. So it's so on top of being an environmental risk to us, to being a human health risk to us, on top of legal issues, not having a legal framework, on top of the mental side of it, that we're becoming more codependent on it, the fact that it's eroding education, the fact that people are using it for short-term goals, and it's the long-term effects of it. It's just more of a liability than an asset. It reflects corporate interests. It doesn't reflect our interest. Like I said, the corporations are the ones who are making billions of dollars. They're profiting off of it. So AI is not just a tool. It is not neutral. It is encoded with bias. It reflects power, and it reflects the corporations and the interests of the corporations who designed them. So it functions as a liability more than an asset. That's it.
Okay, okay, okay. I mean, listen, man. Like I said, the biasness and okay. Once again, you mentioning that AI has to be trained. It's trained this, it's trained that, and trained that. Well, all I'm saying is, and listen, like other things too, it has to be regulated and trained properly. AI can't just walk up and AI. We at the end of the day, we control AI. At the end of the day, we as people control AI. At the end of the day. Not AI is not automatically doing these things by itself per se. No, people that are regulated and trained are has to be more responsible with doing so. So, like I said, saying it's not helpful, it just I think it's just disingenuous. You know what I mean? There's pros and cons to everything in just in life, but and AI is nowhere different. But that being said, the the helpfulness of AI is more positive than the bad at the end of the day. Cause like cause like I said before, just the big picture. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, the big picture is this, right? When it comes to AI, like it's a tool. Like we need to evaluate when it comes to humanity, right? It's basically how we choose to use it. We AI can only be effective how at its best, and at its best of how people can use it. And granted, we all know this. That's just everything in life. People use resources for bad. Some people use some same resources for good. And just like a humanity standpoint, we need the bigger picture. It depends on us to maximize the good and help of AI at the end of the day, how we use it. Like right now, like I said, right now, proven to be one of the most powerful allies in medicine, safety, education, and protecting our planet at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So I don't understand how that's just a super negative thing. Yes, there are negative things about AI. Like I said, not ignoring that at all, but there's AI is a lot of different things now. You know what I mean? So like when you use Google and things of that nature, like I said, when you use Google or these search engines and do your research, or you let's say you listen to music, you know what I mean? Oh, AI, I need to find this type of artist, or oh, this nature. I heard this on TikTok. What is this song right here? That stuff helps out. You know what I mean? I don't understand how that's a negative thing. When you talk about the copyright things, they have discussed that. They have discussed the copyrights and things and talking about fixing those type of issues. And speaking of AI and copyrights and art, shout out to Beanie Siegel. This is one of the whole things about AI. Beanie Siegel announced he's doing an album with Jadakiss because you know why? If y'all didn't know, Beanie Siegel lost his voice being shot over a decade ago per se, and his voice never sounded his voice sounds real different. So he used AI to sound like use his old voice to make music now, and it sounds great. So those are the positive things about AI now. So when you talk about the negatives things about AI, yes, those are negatives, but it's way more helpful use and way more. I've seen way more good with AI than bad. Time.
All right. So the only thing that True points out are commodities and luxuries of AI that it can boost creativity and things of that nature. Again, AI existing is a liability because, as I've stated before, it is an environmental risk. So the same diseases that you brought up are the same diseases that it's contributing to. These efficiencies that you're talking about are automating jobs. The same efficiencies that you're talking about are disposing or predisposing people with mental disorders. They it is just more of a liability for us as humans. Another reason is that misinformation. So on top of visual AI with images, we have audio AI. We even have AI that can put people's faces on others people's faces, and they can kind of cosplay and present themselves as something that they're not. And it costs nothing. It costs an email. For some of them, it doesn't cost that. You get a free trial. You just go to the website and you do it. That is problematic. We saw during election season, uh, we saw many deep fake videos and audios. And guess what? There are no repercussions for that. You can say something in someone else's voice, and that in how can you tell? There are no visual cues for audio. If you hear something and it sounds like someone is like you, there's nothing to detect that. So at the end of the day, all you presented was commodities, personal uses, while it's actively killing the environment, is actively hurting us. It just actively is. Like the research says it. We don't the energy efficiencies that we have, it cannot keep up with it. Google, um, Microsoft saw a 30% increase in their water consumption. Google saw 20% in their water consumption, trying to power the demands of AI. It only gets worse. So at the end of the day, like I said, we can't relinquish AI of accountability. If you ever heard of product liability laws, those things exist. Uh, that evaluates the risk and positives of products and things that come out, how they can affect the market. It's just AI is, like I said, I presented more than enough reasons why it's more of a liability. All you presented was that it can do things that you want it to do. The only thing you presented was profit. And like I say, ultimately it profits the corporations that use it more than humanity itself, the billionaires, the wealthy. So I rest my case.
All righty, all right. Like I said, the debate's done. All right, that was a third round. Um, I'm gonna see how y'all feel about this, man. Like I said before, man. The AI versus, is AI good for humanity or not? I mean, hey, you know what I mean. I want y'all to decide. 'Cause, like, even though everybody use AI, but it's helpful. I mean, even my opponent, but it's neither here or there. You know what I mean. Everybody uses AI, but I don't know. Y'all choose if it's bad, if it's super bad, not. You know what I mean. y'all say like I said, hit that like button, subscribe, all that stuff. Hoops. I don't know if you got a channel. Now I forgot her. I don't know if Hoops got a channel. I know we got Discord. I don't know if we got. I think got playback. You want to promote that? You can. Um, I don't know who's still there or not. But like I said, it was a good debate. It was a good debate. Uh, it was a good debate. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Oh, there you go. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. We're going to do more of these debates, so stay tuned for that. We're going to do more of these debates. It's your boy True. Peace, deuces, salute. Let me out.